The Vigil of Eons. Since the Deathwatch's inception in Millennium 32, there have been periods when the Imperium dared to believe it was holding the Xenos menace back. By dint of countless martyrdoms, this hidden order has kept the segmentums of the Imperium's domain safe. Now, as the Great Rift ravages the galaxy, the stakes of that battle have never been higher. Millennium 32. The Age of the Shield raised. A new order. After the Orc tyrant, known as the Beast, nearly conquers Terra itself, the High Lords oversee the creation of an alien hunting force. So the seeds of the Deathwatch are sown. The primogenitors get. Fabius Bile's experiments in melding alien bioforms to create the perfect attack organism come to an abrupt end when the Deathwatch raid his laboratories, fighting their way through a dozen fleshy hells to put the entire complex to the torch. The Hammer of the Deathwatch. The prognosticators of the Grey Knights detect a coming warp breach in the Endash subsector. Upon Endash itself, rival Orc warlords have spilt rivers of gore so copious that they are at risk of creating a rift to the Blood God's own realm. Unable to reach Endash in time, the Grey Knights send an astropathic pulse to the Deathwatch. A dozen kill teams reach Endash, slaying one of the Orc warlords and his entire retinue using only thunderhammers, power mauls, and fists. Bludgeoning the enemy to death with crushing weapons proves no mean feat, and it costs the kill team a full half of their number. Yet by limiting the blood spilt, the Deathwatch prevent the warp breach from ever happening. The surviving Orc warlord leads a greenskin crusade out of the subsector. A week later, Augur beacons trace the Orc crusade into the Eye of Terror, and the matter is considered resolved. A deadly jest. Through manipulation, trickery, and a series of precisely executed hit-and-run attacks, a band of Eldari harlequins brings the Shantoria system to the brink of a civil war. Their activities are bloodily curtailed when kill teams out of Fort Prescience cut the Xenos off from their webway portal and slaughter them. The Omega Chamber. Eldari Corsairs raid Watch Fortress Omega. Their target a rune-carved Doomsday Sphere secure in the complex's null chamber. They find the fortress better defended than they expect, for though it is small, it houses only Venator kill teams. Hundreds of Eldari raiders are slain before the last of them chance upon the chamber, only to find it empty. The Doomsday Sphere was a myth, misinformation spread to the Eldari via mercenary contacts of the fortress's Black Shields. Purge of the Urguls. An Urgul migration spills from the thrice-cursed ziggurats of Shaddam. It flows into the nightmare Shard Maze, and from there to the mirrored palace of Planitia, when the gangling predators prove strong enough to tear apart the kill team that hunts them. The dreadnought Xenomortis is sent to reinforce its battle brothers. Months later, the war machine storms from the ruins of the now empty mirrored palace, every inch of its hull covered in Urgul blood. Millennium 40 to 41. The Age of the Shield shivered. Amidst the snows of Atrophon. When the world of Atrophon faces devastation by the Orcs of War, Dregsmasher, a small kill team, is sent to assassinate the big mechs leading the war. A misdrop leaves the team on the wrong side of a storm-swollen river, caught in the teeth of a ferocious blizzard, with greenskins closing fast. The heroics that follow are the very definition of the Deathwatch's selfless strength. Bane of the Slith. The Slaanesh-worshipping Slith of the Vincine sector are attacked in their nests when kill team Decurious descends to save the world from a truly disgusting fate. To kill a Jacero. The Deathwatch of Fort Nullifact launch an attack against a seemingly undefended Jacero starframe, only to be met with a fleet's worth of firepower. They retreat to a safe distance, monitoring the simian aliens that clamber upon their starframe, as it slowly spins out of the cosmos into the cold void. Idilia in flames. After a string of punitive strikes from Craftworld Bartan against the Galavizima subsector prove impossible to stop, the Deathwatch of Fort Ajax give up the chase. Taking every flamer weapon they can muster, they instead descend to the maiden world of Illidia at the height of summer and, in conjunction with a firestorm barrage, set swathes of the world aflame. The Exodites of the planet fight hard to repel them, but the Deathwatch stay one step ahead. Drawn by the psychic distress calls of their kindred, Craftworld Baltan appeared in the night sky. Within a week, the autarch of the attacking warhost is killed by a Kraken bolt to the head. The Gossamer Quintus Anomaly. Chaplain Orton Cassius leads an Aquila kill team to the backwater mining world of Gossamer Quintus, only to find an alien infestation spread not only throughout the planet, but the segmentum, and possibly beyond. The Cryptman Gambit. After seeing the destruction meted out by High Fleet Leviathan across a wide frontage of Imperial space, Inquisitor Cryptman orders a cordon of worlds in its path laid barren or actively destroyed to starve the Tyranids of sustenance. This drastic measure sees Cryptman excommunicated, with many calls for the death sentence. Meanwhile, the Inquisitor's Deathwatch allies stasis capture a brood of gene stealers from a space hulk and send them into the Octarius sector, an Orc stronghold forward of the main Leviathan tendril. The Gambit is vindicated when the High Fleet follows the psychic spore of its gene stealers into the biomass-rich Orc Empire, buying the Imperium time to regroup as Xenos fights Xenos across the sector. Crown of the Beast. Whilst on a destabilization raid to the war-torn Empire of Octaria, the kill teams of the Eyes of Octos witness a mechanic invention that disrupts the synaptic control linking Tyranid organisms. Appearing much like a crown of electricity, it is used by the self-appointed King Mick Badcrasher to break swarm after swarm. The kill teams wait for the two Xenos armies to decimate each other before diving in. Therefore all teams cutting through to Badcrasher before escaping with his decapitated head, crown and all, for further study. The Thief Inquisitor. When Inquisitor Geo of the Ordo Xenos brings a Necron data cane with him to Fort Velocia, he unwittingly seeds its demise. The Necron overlord Xanatar, the Vengeful, descends upon the Watch Fortress at the head of 100 Night Scythes. He brings overwhelming force against the Deathwatch garrison before disappearing, with data cane in hand, taking Inquisitor Geo, now trapped within a Tesseract labyrinth, with him as a cautionary lesson. The Vault of Azeroth. A shard of the Catan codified in Ordo Xenos records as the Destroyer is found in the Gulga system. Its psychic shadow so dark it is picked up by long-range astropathic reverb choirs. The Deathwatch sent to investigate find the system rife with undeath, both mechanical and biological. After many months of warfare involving forces from 3 Watch fortresses, the Catan Vault of Azeroth is finally destroyed by a sustained las cannon bombardment from massed land raiders and Blackstar dropship wings. The Great Usurper. On the island world of Tharsis Prime, a lacrimal shapeshifter poses as the paranoid planetary governor, Ikos Blail. Deathwatch forces finally put him down after a guerrilla war with the mercenary Kroot tribes he has hired to protect himself. Extractio Extremis. Through their rogue trader contacts, the Deathwatch are alerted to the presence of a Space Marine captain in the blood sports arena of Kormorah. Kill Team Aldrich, after seeking the wisdom of the Salamander's First Company, finds a method of entering the webway. By smuggling their Corvus Blackstar within the damaged hull of a Corsair starship, they enter the Dark City. There they fight into the arena's holding pens, though it costs the lives of all but Aldrich himself. The Gladiator captain is freed in time to catch the Corsair ship as it leaves, still unaware of its Imperial cargo. Damnos Revisited. The Ultramarines suffer one of their most catastrophic defeats when the Necrons of Damnos awake and drive them off-world. A full half of the chapter return to exact vengeance, led by Lord Marneus Calgar and Captains Cato Sicarius. Under the cover of the Ultramarines' violent crusade to reconquer the planet's surface, a team of Deathwatch battle brothers infiltrates the primary tomb complex and destroys its lord's ability to regenerate before striking the final blow. The Enclave struck. With Commander Farsight and his subordinates joining the war for Agrilan, the Deathwatch make an opportunistic attack on the Farsight enclaves. They cause untold damage on the Enclave's command structure before Commander Farsight returns, vengeance foremost on his mind. Nostros overrun. The Orc hordes of Jaga sweep through the Nostros cluster, overrunning several systems and slaughtering billions of Astra Militarum troops. Furor and Dominatus kill teams are deployed together, fighting a masterful campaign to slow the Greenskins' advance. But they are too few and the enemy too savage. The Deathwatch are defeated, and the Nostrosi expansions continue. Contact Blast. A 7-man kill team deploys to Masushi Pa, there to investigate reports of the gene-stealer cult known as the Blessed Wormlings. Discovering that the threat is greater than first feared, the kill team fight heroically to reach the planet's spaceport and escape. Yet their numbers prove too few, and though they heap the corridors with xenophile corpses, they are eventually overrun. Theirs is but one story of tragic loss during this desperate time, when the Deathwatch are strained to their limits and beyond. Excalibris's plight. Drukhari raiders redouble their attacks around the Crucible of Tales. Meanwhile, the Necrons of Ignaris push towards the Gothic sector, while Hrad infestations are discovered throughout the Kaipax Reach. Forced to deal with all of these threats at once, Watch Fortress Excalibaris' garrison is stretched to breaking point and beyond. They are far from the only Deathwatch enclave to find themselves in such dire straits. The greatest need. With war open on every front, and their enemies multiplying faster than they can be slain, many Space Marine chapters demand the return of their Deathwatch brethren. Some Watchmasters comply, though they do so with heavy hearts. Others refuse, respond with demands for fresh reinforcements, or simply ignore the request entirely. Relations with several of the more insistent chapters become dangerously strained. The Crystal Sands of Coheria. On the crystal moon of Coheria, Farseer Eldrad Orthran attempts to raise an Eldar deity. He is opposed by Watch Captain Artemis, who badly disrupts but does not entirely defeat Orthran's schemes. Stormbreak. After Abaddon the Despoiler crushes Cadia, a series of catastrophes ensue, and the Great Rift roars into being across the galaxy. The Imperium is split in two, stranding many Watch fortresses alone in the darkness of the Imperium Nihilus. Millennium 41. The Age of the Shield renewed. The Ultimate Decree. Resurrected and returned to the Imperium in its hour of greatest need, Primarch Reboot Guilliman strives to reunite his father's shattered realm. He presides over the Ultima Founding, wherein the slumbering Primaris Space Marines are woken and sent to join the war against Chaos. As part of this grand mobilization, Guilliman sends entire chapters worth of Primaris battle brothers to reinforce the hard-pressed Deathwatch and pull them back from the brink of annihilation. The Scattered Leviathan. In the wake of the Battle of Baal, splinters of High Fleet Leviathan are scattered by churning warp rifts to emerge at random throughout the Imperium. Deathwatch forces race to counter these incursions before they can gather momentum. During the battles that ensue, Deathwatch apothecaries note that the physiology of the Tyranids appears wholly unchanged, despite their transit through the mutating energies of the warp. The Death of Time. To the galactic north of Fenris, Hrad overrun the shrine world of Damhal. Drawn to the rich veins of crystallized time in the world's many stasis crypts, the chronophagic Xenos wreak havoc. Regiments of Mordian Iron Guard deployed to fight them become wizened ancients within hours. and even a strike force of the Sons of Medusa is lost, overwhelmed by entropy. 2 watch companies from Keep Extremis join the fight. They are accompanied by a mighty spearhead of no less than 8 dreadnoughts. It is these ancients who lead the final strike upon the Hrad World Warren, enduring the creature's parasitic aura long enough to slaughter their leaders and collapse their tunnels. Recovered from the field of victory, the dreadnoughts are found to be rusted, inert, silent. Inside their sarcophagi, their biological remains are gone, reduced to nothing but dust. Swift death. Capitalizing upon the mayhem and isolation caused by the Great Rift, the Drukhari step up their slaving raids, preying upon countless planets lost alone in the dark. The Onyx Patrol range out to the edge of the Segmentum Solar and beyond as they chase down Xenos raiders. Their newly instituted Fortis kill teams fight effectively alongside Venator kill teams, together bringing the fast-moving foe to battle. The Weapons of Wisdom. Independently reaching the same conclusions, the Watchmasters of Thalassa Prime, Fort Pikeman, the Eye of Damocles, and more send out kill teams to every neighboring Imperial world they can reach. These specialists share their alien fighting skills, training planetary garrisons and local response forces in anti-Xenos doctrines. So is the thin black line bolstered amidst the turmoil of the Imperium Nihilus. Flight of the Castasi. Radical Ordo Xenos Inquisitor Balthus Bale uses cannibalized xenotech to navigate the storms of the Dark Imperium safely. His ship, the Castasi, reaches Thanathas's Fall in time to deliver the Deathwatch into battle with invading Tau. During the fighting, however, Xenos forces board Bale's ship, and the Deathwatch are compelled to destroy it rather than allow the ingenious Tau to reverse engineer his discoveries. Bonds of Brotherhood. Furor Shield responds to 20 Space Marine chapters' requests to return their battle brothers. Yet rather than repatriate these battle brothers fully, they send them back still clad in the raiment of the Deathwatch and still serving their long vigil. This act of compromise sees the returned brothers fight alongside their chapters once more, but in the capacity of strategic anti-Xenos advisors without equal. The Primarch's Deliverance. On the world of Katoth, kill teams from Halt Mode face their doom when they are caught between forces of the Necrons and the traitorous Emperor's children. The battle turns back in their favor when a mighty force of Primaris Space Marines, freshly armored in the black of the Deathwatch, arise directly from the Indomitus Crusade to join the fight. Swift Judgment. An insane, many-faceted war sprawls across the Damocles Gulf, as forces of Xentian demons, Tyranids, Tau, and Imperial forces clash again and again. Amidst this maelstrom, the kill teams of the Eye of Damocles reap a great tally from the Xenos forces. They combine spearhead strikes from Inceptors with gunship-mounted Purgatus kill teams to eliminate alien control structures and leave their forces floundering, leaderless, amidst the swirling carnage. Beast Hunt. After the swarms of High Fleet Behemoth overrun the bastion worlds of Neotharsis, Watcherkeep sends its companies to end the threat. Going into battle against the vast terrors of the court of the Nephilim King, the Malleus and Purgatus kill teams find allies in lances of House Griffith Knights. The two Imperial forces meld their expertise in monster hunting, laying low entire broods of Carnifexes, Tyrannifexes, and even Bio-Titans. They blunt the Tyranid advance long enough for fresh Imperial troops to join the fray. Holgyar's Folly. Watch Captain Holgyar Ironfang receives reinforcements in the form of Fortis kill team Pharanos. Untrusting, even scornful, of the untested Primaris battle brothers, Holgyar inflicts a series of ignominious duties upon them while reserving the more glorious missions for his Venator and Purgatus kill teams. The Watch Captain learns the error of his ways when kill team Pharanos ride to the rescue of Holgyar and his overrun brothers during the Battle of Black Gulch, driving back the greenskin swarms long enough for the Watch commander to withdraw. In the wake of the catastrophe, Holgear undertakes a decade of voluntary penance for his errors, serving as a battle brother beneath the newly promoted Watch Captain Pharanos. Blades of the Storm. In a series of brutal and expertly orchestrated uprisings, cells from the cult of the Four-Armed Emperor seize control of the Shambarak system. Taking over the planet's sprawling shipyards, they begin creation of a seeding fleet to spread their faith throughout the subsector. However, a sudden convulsion of the Great Rift sees the system cut off by a ferocious warp storm, and it is then that the Deathwatch strike. Capitalizing on their victims' confusion and isolation, the watch companies of Null Breach cut apart the cult cells one by one, eliminating the higher echelons of the Genestealer's brood structure and leaving the lower orders floundering. As the storm passes, so too do the Deathwatch, leaving conventional Imperial forces to descend upon the leaderless rebels and slaughter them wholesale. The onrushing tide. The Fool's Door warp storm scours the worlds of the Peridial system. Driven before its fury, warring Kroot and Orc migrations crash into the neighbouring Imperial planet and trigger several bloody wars. The kill teams of Keep Extremis are stretched perilously thin as they attempt to respond to one new threat after another. A pale imitation. When a spur of the webway suddenly tears open, it spills waves of Donorian fiends across the industrial world of Paragon 3, shadowed by Drukhari raiding bands that prey upon the chaos. Hoping to imitate the daring Cryptman gambit, Inquisitor Rey Hneton tries to lure a Tyranid splinter fleet down to eradicate the Xenos invasion. Relying on a tenuous web of alliances that collapses when he fails to deliver upon his own pledges of fealty, Rey Hneton inadvertently causes a catastrophe of system-wide proportions. He is forcibly extracted by Aquila kill team Sayax, who drag him in chains to Fort Obsidious to face trial. Hate the Alien. When the Imperial world of Astrakala comes under attack from traitor forces, a host of Inari sweeps down to assist a beleaguered planetary garrison. A watch company from Fort Pikeman also joins the battle, but, isolated from the news of potential alliances by the darkness of the Imperium Nihilus, it transpires that they have come to butcher what they see as Xenos invaders. Pikeman's kill teams mercilessly purge their would-be Inari comrades, an act that sees both factions decimated and chaos victorious. The Doom of Starshield. The watch companies of Fort Starshield complete several textbook extermination missions against Xenos warships that surge into the Cardus system from the galactic west. The Deathwatch note that each battle was made easier by the condition of their foes, whose craft evidenced severe battle damage and whose crews seemed panicked, even frantic. Realizing that these invaders must themselves be fleeing some other, greater peril, Watchmaster Volusinus requests urgent reinforcements. Fort Starshield's astropathic relay is annihilated by a titanic eruption of lurid green ectoplasm. Deep Void auspicator boys go dark one by one, their pictures sending back last, blurry images of Orc warships beyond number filling the starfield. Recognizing that his forces are impossibly outmatched, Watchmaster Velesnus girds his warriors for a selfless strike against whatever mighty warlord rules this spaceborne war. He hopes that, by striking off the beast's head, he may make the sacrifice of his and his battle brothers' lives a worthy one. Months later, the requested reinforcements reach the location of Fort Starshield. They find nothing but drifting wreckage, that of dozens of Orc ships and of Fort Starshield itself. They locate the mangled corpses of Watchmaster Velisnus and his closest brothers, pinned to the Starfort's wreckage with huge scrap metal spikes. Each warrior's chestplate has been torn away, and on their flesh is branded the personal glyph, of Gazgul Mag Uruk Thraka. Undermined. On the eastern fringe, Tau invade the fortress world of Kendashi, while highly mobile hunter cadres keep the planet's Astra Militarum garrison divided and embattled. Storm Surge artillery walkers are ferried from one location to the next by Manta missile destroyers. The towering war engines use their phenomenal firepower to break open the interlocking networks of Imperial redoubts. In response, the Deathwatch deploy Venator and Fortis kill teams to Kendashi, while the swift Venators and Deathwatch bikers draw the fire of the Storm Surge gunners. The Fortis kill teams close in aboard their repulsor tanks. The grav waves generated by the hulking tanks shatter the ice fields with their ferocity, sending massive cracks radiating outwards. By the time the Tau realize the danger, it is too late, and their Storm Surge walkers plunge through the collapsing ice to a watery grave. So does the war for Kendashi turn in the Imperium's favor. The impossible foe. Watch Fortress Prescience dispatches kill teams to the aid of the Forge world of Timatros Aleph. Sweeping down from orbit, the Deathwatch join the fight against the Necron forces that have infiltrated the world by some undetermined means. Watch Captain Ajasos quickly realizes something is amiss when fresh waves of Necrons join the fight, and sends out a force to locate the portal or gateway from which the Necrons are deploying. Deep beneath the Templum Primactis, the Deathwatch discovers something far worse. A tomb complex hidden beneath the surface of the Forge world itself. This devastating discovery is just the first in a sudden upsurge of Necron attacks against the Adeptus Mechanicus Forge worlds and the holdings of knightly houses. Requests for aid flood into every Watch fortress as the scions of the Omnissiah find their worlds beset by self-healing metallic foes that strike with terrifying coordination and speed. Kill teams mobilize across every segmentum, racing to provide what aid they can against this growing threat. Bringers of Enlightenment. Far-ranging patrols from Castellos Nullifact find evidence of a mobile Genestealer cult traveling between fringe worlds aboard a fleet of ships and posing as rogue traders. They set off on the trail of the so-called Bringers of Enraptured Joy, fighting several battles against the monstrous corrupted settlements the Xenos worshippers have seeded in their wake. Forbidden Law. After Master Homunculus, Zelixus the Shriveler captures several Primaris Space Marines. Fortis kill team Ultraean is sent to rescue the Lacras specimens. Successfully penetrating the Homunculus' hidden subrealm, the kill team find their targets already horrifically dissected, and the Xenos surgeons' Genesis cauldrons bubbling with heretical new life forms. Knowing that they cannot allow such genetic lore to fall into the hands of the Drukhari, Kill Team Ultraean sacrifice themselves by triggering the extropic viral warhead they have brought with them. The results are hideous, but decisive. Time runs out. Vermilion-level alerts reach the Doombreak, Eye of Octos and Foror Shield watch fortresses as the unthinkable happens. Triggered by empiric shockwaves from the opening of the Great Rift, swarms of enormous Tyranids and hordes of hulking Scarboys break away from the Octara War to attack neighboring systems. The Watchmasters of all three fortresses request urgent reinforcements from the wider Imperium before surging into battle.